Afternoon. Yesterday we talked about how that we should respect and do not censure monastics. Do not recklessly apply censure and punishments of criminal law to a monastic. So today we'll continue one, which is offending monastics. Do not destroy all the precepts of virtues do remain. So it goes without saying that a pure monastic who upholds the precepts should never be punished through secular or unlawful method. But why should monastics who violate precepts or have no also not be subjected to secular or unlawful punishment? There is a profound meaning behind this. As stated in the 3 of the Kṣitigarbha Sutra, it says, a monastic who breaks precepts and commits unwholesome deeds is considered spiritually dead like a corpse. According to my Vinaya teachings, their nothingness remains some residue virtues derived from having upheld monastic precepts. Furthermore, the sutra stated, although a monk may have violated the precepts, when other sentient beings observe their monastic appearance, they should generate 10 kinds of excellent contemplations, gaining a boundless treasury of merits. These 10 contemplations are recollection of the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, generosity, patience, renunciation, departing from distractions, wisdom, and planting wholesome roots for renunciation in past lives. According to the of the Kṣitigarbha Sutra, monastic who had broken the precept is comparable to a corpse, unable to practice and attain liberation in this lifetime. Hence, vast oceans of the Buddha Dharma, can no longer accommodate them. They should be formally expelled from the Sangha. Nevertheless, a monastic violated the precepts and committed unwholesome deeds, had previously been ordained to the Sangha and performed and firmly received the precepts. So although they have now broken precepts, some residue virtues from upholds earlier remains. So in other words, a monastics who break precept does not entirely eradicate all virtuous qualities associated with monastic discipline. Some merits still persist. This is comparable to a container that once held incense. Even after the incense has been removed, a faint fragrance lingers. Likewise, often monastics retain some residual merits from previously upholding the precepts. Moreover, their outward appearance can still inspire others to generate the 10 kinds of excellent contemplations, thus helping observers nurture and increase their own merits. These aspects can also apply to those who have no precepts. Having discussed this far, we might reflect on our experience. At present, although we are studying the Buddha Dharma and may even be quite like having received the 5 precepts or perhaps even the Bodhisattva precepts, was it that initially lead us to believe in the Buddha Dharma? Certainly, some of us developed faith and took refuge in Buddhism after encountering great spiritual masters. Yet, for others, It was gradually forming a connection with Buddhism after encountering how can I say, some are not the same. Some are like gradually fall connection with Buddhism after seeing ordinary monastics in our hometowns childhood. So the monastics we initially encountered might have bad behavior. Perhaps they broke their precepts or have no precepts at all. And our first impression of them might not be favorable. Nevertheless, these encounters still inspired wholesome ideas in us, enabling us to become aware of the essence of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Thus, planting the seeds has ultimately blossomed into our current practice of Buddha Dharma. By the same token, the Buddha statues in a temple. So the temple is not really it's not very busy and famous anymore. The sutras discarded along piles of old books. Monastics have who've broken their precepts can still inspire and to develop faith in the Triple Gem. So in this sense, monastics who have violated or have no precepts at all can still inspire others to cultivate merits and nurture excellent contemplations, such as reflecting on the inconceivable truths of the Triple Gem, recollecting the merits of practicing the precepts, generosity, and as well as aspiring towards renunciation, departing from this, seeking wisdoms, and recalling the wholesome roots one has planted in past lives. Therefore, the standpoint of a monastic communities, monks who committed serious violations of precepts should indeed be expelled from the Sangha. However, from the perspective of lay devotees, these monastics can serve as fields of merits for ordinary people, as they remain capable of inspiring others to cultivate virtues and merits. So in summary, it is certainly for monastics to strictly uphold their precepts, and such practitioners deserve special respect. Even in cases where lay Buddhists become aware of monastic violating precepts, they must never censure, insult, or take these monastics into custodies without following the proper procedures. This is because such themselves constitute grave offenses against the Sangha. So Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva appeared in this world, afflicted by the five imps, manifesting in the form of a. So this clearly illustrates that the Bodhisattva's great compassion and commitment to guide sentient beings toward liberation. It also demonstrates that one individuals shave their heads, don monastic robes, and join the Sangha, they remain monastics, regardless of whether their conduct is exemplary or flawed. As long as they remained part of Sangha and have not been formally expelled or stripped off their monastic status, lay devotees may choose to withhold praise, offerings, or support. However, they must not either openly or secretly use inappropriate or deceitful methods to punish or humiliate the monastics. Otherwise, they inadvertently create a negative impression of the Buddha Dharma, unknowingly committing the severe karma offense of harming the Triple Gem. Respecting the Triple Gem and believing in cause and effect is the only way events falling into hell. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva saves sentient beings from falling into hell, but the Bodhisattva's focus is more on ways to prevent sentient beings falling into hell. There are 8 words in the Chinese phrase that describe this method: respect the triple gem and believe in cause and effect. This method is well known to both lay Buddhists and monastic disciples. The purpose of Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva manifesting in defiled land is to promote sentient beings using this method. Among all aspects, the most important, specifically, how to show respects to the Dharma and the Sangha. By doing so, can Buddha Dharma be preserved? And only when the Dharma is preserved in the world can it rescue beings and enable them to benefit from the Buddha's teachings. Shakyamuni Buddha came into this world to attain Buddhahood. He manifested the monastic form, renouncing family wealth to engage in spiritual practice and attain enlightenment. His disciples followed him, also renouncing household, and thereby formed a Buddhist monastic community, the Sangha. So the Sangha is one of the triple gems that holds great significance in Buddhism. Shakyamuni Buddha replied upon the Sangha to liberate sentient beings. He organized the monastics into a pure and harmonious community to realize the purpose of benefiting both oneself and others. However, if internal disorder arises within the Sangha and lay followers unaware of the true circumstances, apply improper methods to address the issues will only lead to further complications and discord. Such harmony inevitably weakens the Sangha's ability to effectively teach and guide sentient beings. So the practice method taught in the sutra on the fundamental vow of Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva, whether it is the 11 severe offenses, 10 evil wills that lead us into hell, place emphasis on the grave offenses of defaming the Buddha Dharma, abusing monastics, slandering practitioners, stealing and destroying monastics' properties. Reason is they are and members of the Buddhist monastic community. Destroying them would Buddhism to immediately lose its pure image. How could it then fulfill saving sentient beings? This can be likened to patriotism. One should not be disloyal to one's own country, nor go abroad speak negatively about it. Anyone who does so merely create disturbances, increase difficulties for their country, as is thus considered an offender against a nation. So Buddhism operates similarly. If those who genuinely follow Buddhism turn around and damage the Buddha Dharma and causing the Dharma to decline, they are committed an extremely offense. This point is not only emphasized in the sutra on the fundamental vows of Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva, but is also a concern addressed throughout all Mahayana sutras. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva knows that in this age of decline and the 5 impurities, monastics are underperforming. The householders do not know how to cultivate merits and wisdom. Instead, they carry out deeds that goes against the Triple Gem, the Dharma, and the precepts. So these conditions, Buddhism will naturally decline even without external attack or defamation from non-Buddhist groups. It is precisely for this reason that Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva chose to manifest as a monastic. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva was attending an assembly led by Shakyamuni Buddha. The teachings such as the 11 grave offenses and the 10 unwholesome wills were expounded by the Buddha to clearly identify the behaviors that most rapidly to downfall, namely rebirth in the hells. So the aim was both monastics and lay followers to be especially vigilant regarding these harmful behaviors and to cherish the Triple Gem. By refraining from such misconduct, one not only avoids falling into the hells, but also contributes to reversing the decline of itself. Those who are currently impure can gradually become pure and progressively flourish again day by day. So can we associate with monastics? No shame. The Buddha has divided the Sangha members into several categories. The first category is the monastics who have attained sagehood through practices and awakening. The second category is those who have not attained sagehood but sincerely uphold the precepts, have a correct understanding of the Buddha Dharma, and hold the right view of the Buddha Dharma. So these are the there are two other categories, not ideal. So, okay, the first one is the mute, it's called monastics. Mute sheep monastic is like a sheep that cannot speak. Buddhist monastics needs to learn and practice precepts. These include not precepts against killing and stealing and so forth, but also the rules and regulations of the Sangha community. What qualities are needed to be a teacher of the sentient beings? Required for ordination, and how should the precept be conferred? What is the ordination procedures? So how should a monastery be built and managed? Buddha had outlined the rules and regulations for all of the above. So for individuals, this covers everything from the time one ordained and conferred the monastic precepts to one's daily activities such as collecting alms, eating, dressing, and for the Sangha, there are duties such as distributing work and resolving disputes, which are regulated protocols. In modern terms, the affairs of the Sangha group are democratic. For example, an assembly meeting conference. Decisions at a conference require the approval of the Sangha group to ensure that the outcomes are proper and incorporated into the Sangha's regulations. Monastics should learn these processes relating to form Sangha meetings. Anyone who does not know them are called sheep monastics. So the second one, shameless monastic. Shameless monastic is someone who has violated the precepts. There are different levels of severity in the Vinaya. The one mentioned here is the one of serious offenses. So, should lay Buddhists associate with shameless monastics? This can be divided into two categories. The first one, shameless monastics that one can associate with. There is one category of shameless monastics with whom association is permissible. Physical 5 of the Kṣitigarbha Sutra says there are shameless monastics who, despite not being proper vessels for in realizing the Dharma, nothingness regarding them as their teacher. They deeply revere and have faith in my relics, images, Dharma, Sangha, and the noble precepts, and cherish all the sages. Even the Karavadin king cannot compare with these monastics, let alone ordinary beings. So this type of shameless monastics does not habitually violate precepts. Instead, their transgression from a moment of vexation or impulsiveness when circumstances prove overly tempted. So to violate the serious precepts means to break them. Like a cracked cup, a person who violates the severe precepts is no longer a good vessel. No much they practice meditations and recall the Buddha, not attain sagehood or liberation in this lifetime. However, those who violate non-severe precepts are still fine to associate with because they violate precepts due to obstacles leading to impulsive actions, but they still have full respect and faith in. So monastics who violate precepts have great respect for the image and relics of. They appear pure and solemn in front of the Buddha, making offerings and prostrating themselves respectfully. Although the monastics have violated the precepts, they still the triple gem and praise the pure precepts. These shameful monastics can be Dharma vessel or liberate themselves in this life, but they can still progress in their practices and in wisdom. In Buddhism, they can enable sentient beings to cultivate merits, faith, and benefit from the Buddha Dharma. Because the shameless monastics complete respect and faith in Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Therefore, no matter great the merits of a non-Buddhist or even the Karavadin king, they are not as good as these monastics. The Karavadin king is a benevolent ruler who teaches people of 10 wholesome deeds. When a Karavadin king is on earth, people will live in peace and joy, but he is unable to liberate people in this world. However, monastics who violate precepts are able to lead people to transcendental right view. So in terms of attaining liberations, these monastics are not Dharma vessels. In terms of upholding and protecting merits of the Triple Gem, they bring benefits of Dharma to others. So these shameless monastics are not easy to find in the current of Dharma decline, so we can associate with them. So the second category, those we cannot associate with this kind of shameless monastics. So among the shameless monastics, there are some we cannot associate with. For example, in the vesicle of the Kṣitigarbha Sutra, it says there are monastics who do not feel ashamed. They have broken the fundamental precepts and cannot come up the Dharma vessel of the sages, of the free vehicles. They cling to their wrong view, faming other vehicles, slandering different paramita practices. We should not associate these shameless monastics, or we will be one step closer to spiritual decline. So this type of shameless monastics has not only violated the precepts, thus making it possible for them to attain any level of awakening or liberation in life, but they uh, also elaborate justification, defend their behavior, even defaming those who uphold right views, unaware that they hold ignoramus views. So these monastics do not generally practice yet slander those who do. They have adopted profoundly views, reject the laws of cause and effects, remain indifferent towards goods, and dwell within the Sangha like thieves. So in addition, there is still another type of shameless monastics who possess distorted views and mistaken understandings. And some of them practices the Shravakayana and disparage the Mahayana as not taught by the Buddha. Or oppositely, like those practice Mahayana and reject the Shravakayana as unworthy of practice. Furthermore, within the practice of the 6 paramitas, certain shameless monastics cultivate only one single paramita and disparage the others. So these kinds of shameless monastics are not suitable vessels for fulfilling the Dharma and actively cause harms to the Buddha Dharma. Therefore, one should not associate with them. Associating with such monastics will lead one to be negatively influenced, causing the development of wrong views, as well as defamation of other Buddhist vehicles and disparagements of other paramitas. As a result, one will inevitably be reborn in the hells. So we face a lot of challenges in our world, and in the sutra on the fundamental vows of Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva, the teachings show us the ways to deal with them. Okay, so these are the texts in the sutra. Let me move this. Okay, so the first one, let's see if this work for you. If there are women who growing tired of a female body, wholeheartedly make offerings to the painted image of Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva, or a clay, a stone, lacquer, copper, or iron image, day after day without fail, constantly making offerings of flowers, incense, food, drinks, clothing, silk, penance, money, gems, or other goods, then this virtuous woman will distinguish this retribution of a female body. For hundreds of thousands of tens of thousands of kalpas, they will not even be reborn in the world that has woman, much less to be one again, except if through the power of compassionate vows to willingly take on the female body to liberate sentient beings. So due to the influence of making offerings to Kṣitigarbha, they receive meritorious power, and for hundreds and thousands of tens of thousands of kalpas will never receive a female body. Okay, so another one is in the sutra. It say, oh, there's a Bodhisattva called universal expense. Okay, so Buddha was talking to him. Buddha said, universal expense. If there are women who growing tired of being ugly and frequently sick, gaze in veneration with a resolute heart in front of an image of Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva, even for a span of a meal, single meal. Then this woman will be reborn for thousands of tens of thousands of kalpas with a body that is perfectly figured. So if this ugly woman do not tired of their female body, then for hundreds of thousands of tens of thousands, millions of rebirths, they will consistently be reborn as female royalty or imperial concubines or daughters of ministers or of great families or of great elders, and will be upright and reborn with a perfect figure by gazing in veneration with a resolute heart upon Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva. They will gain merits such as this. So I was very interested in that, because in the past, before I become a nun, I do want to look good. And when I see this text, I said, oh, okay, maybe it can help. Okay, so okay. Oops. Okay. No, this one. Okay, so furthermore, Buddha talked to universal expanse and say, if in the future ages there are men and women who have bedridden for a long time seeking a recovery, so they are in the bed and they cannot do much, they're sick, or even seeking death, yet do not obtain either, and who have dreams at night of evil ghosts or family and members, or of traveling down treacherous paths, or of roaming with many nightmarish ghosts and spirits, and who for days, months, years, or longer waste away and crying out in their sleeps from their well, sort of which is the mystery that this is due to their Jupiter's karma paths, whose unsettled severity makes it difficult for them to abandon this life or to have a full recovery. The eyes of common men and women do not recognize these affairs, whether making much offerings to this sutra or images, or creating image of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, constructing pagodas, burning oil lamps, or giving to the monasteries. One should tell the sick person 3 times to make sure he knows. If the consciousness has disintegrated and the breath has stopped, then for up to 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 7 days, these statements and sutras should be read in a loud voice. So these merits can help those people in this situation, in bed, suffering, or come across really scary or unsettled situation. Their heart is not settled. They can pray to the Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva. And also in the future, if there are people who are lowly and poor, or who are slaves, servants, or are otherwise not free, yet who are aware of the karma of their past lives and want to repent, then they should gaze in veneration with resolute heart upon the image of Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva during a 7-day period, reciting the name of Kṣitigarbha a full 10,000 times. After their present retribution ends, such people, for thousands of tens of thousands of rebirths, will consistently be reborn into honor and wealth, and will furthermore never experience the suffering of the 3 evil paths. Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva said, if in the future or present there are sentient beings who are approaching the days at the end of their life, and who hear the name of one Buddha, the name of one Bodhisattva, or the name of one Pratyeka Buddha, regardless if they have committed offenses or not, they will fully attain liberation. If there are men and women who, while alive, did not cultivate virtuous affinities, and often committed many kinds of offenses, then after the end of their life, when younger and older relatives are producing merits, they will obtain one of the 7 parts of all the noble deeds merits. 6 parts of the merits is beneficial to the living ones themselves. So for this reason, virtuous men and women of the future and of the present who hear this should personally cultivate merits so as to receive every part in themselves. So for people that losing their family members. So further, Avalokitesvara said in future ages, there are men and women who loses their father, mother, brother, or sister while still breastfeeding or under the age of 3, 5, or 10. Then these people grow older in years. They will think of their parents and relatives without knowing which realm they have fallen into or what world or heaven they have been reborn. If these people are able to cast or paint an image of Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva, listen to his name, or gaze upon him in veneration for up to 7 days without retreating from their initial resolve to listen to his name, look upon his image, gaze in veneration, and make offerings, then even if the relatives of these people, due to their karmic affinities, were to fall into even realms for numerous cow-pounds, then they will receive the merits of their sons, daughters, brothers, or sisters who cast or painted an image of Kṣitigarbha and gaze upon it in reverence, and immediately be released and reborn among human and devas and enjoy a superbly wondrous bliss. So Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva said, Buddha is talking to the Bodhisattva in the sutra. Well, it was recorded in this sutra. If future ages there are victorious men and women who wished to develop a great compassionate heart in liberating all sentient beings and who wish to cultivate an excelled body in the desire to be freed from the free realms of samsara, and these people see the image of Kṣitigarbha, hear his name, take refuge in him with utmost sincerely, and with and use incense, flowering, clothing, gems, drinks, and food to make offerings while gazing upon him in veneration, then these wishes of these victorious men and women will quickly realize, and they will eternally without any hindrances. So for us living in this world, we have the desire and pleasures that bring sufferings. All desires and pleasures are easy to destroy and are not long-lasting. The pursuit of desire can be very bitter, and even if you successfully gain what you desired and achieve happiness, you still need to protect it. This protection is challenging and often leads to suffering. The pain of losing what you have is even more profound. The acts of protecting what we enjoy bring its own struggles, and the never-ending desire and pleasure can lead to continually suffering and distress. There is a short story in the Sutra of Parable of the Dharma. There was a poor couple whose life was difficult. At that time, there was a fair in the city, and the wife also need to join, but she thought her clothes did not look good, so she said to her husband, "If you buy me new clothes, I will go to the fair. If you do not buy me new clothes, I would not be your wife anymore." After hearing this, her husband felt so sad, but he was broke and did not have enough money to buy what the wife demanded. So what could he do? He thought of many ways of getting money and decided to become a thief of stealing something. And after he got some money from theft, and he bought the wife new clothes. So he became a thief, but he failed in doing that, and at the end being caught. he get caught. So this story illustrates that being human is not easy, and the desire for enjoyment can lead to lots of sufferings. The This universe is like a hostel for all things, where everything is like a traveler passing through. Both the hostel and the travelers are impermanent. The owner of the hostels may occasionally make profits or incur losses and close it down. These demonstrate that the business tool is not permanent. Similarly, the traveler comes and goes, highlighting the impermanence and unpredictability of existence. So let us focus solely on human beings. Human possesses a noble spirit, but what is their true state? It resembles a dream rather than reality. When you are dreaming, you might perceive what you see and experience in the dream as real. For instance, if someone invites you for a meal in a dream, you will feel as though you have eaten something, right? You have eaten something. However, once you wake up, your stomach remains empty, right? So this illustrates how dreams are not real. They are mere illusions. Life itself is impermanence. Such like these dreams, they are illusionary and unreal. People who are more capable may do better in their lives, but how much happiness can they have? How long will it last? It will be over in no time. Now, Buddha Dharma mentioned there is a state called nirvana, which can lead you to have permanent peace and freedom. Unlike worldly achievements, which we strive so hard for end up in having nothing, just like a dream. Nirvana is different. The effort put into practicing Buddha Dharma will yield meaningful and enduring results, ensuring that your hard work is not wasted. So the needs of 6 parameters when guiding sentient beings. Buddha had supreme wisdom. Human beings also have some wisdom. For example, if you need to work with someone, you have to build good relationship with him or her in order to complete the task. The 6 parameters have a similar function. The first parameter is generosity. If you help others with your wealth and resources, you will build strong relationships. The second is parameter of morality, which means not offending or angering others. Yes. However, sometimes people who are good to you may also make you angry, which can cause trouble. A Buddhist who has taken the Bodhi vow will not offend or make other sentient beings uncomfortable. They should not. Therefore, it is good for us to take the precepts. The third parameter is tolerance. Sentient beings are not always pleasant. Sometimes they annoy you and make you angry, and you need tolerance to deal with them. You need to endure their actions without letting them affect you. Next is the parameter of diligence. Bodhisattva help others to achieve their goals, and so can you. If you can practice these 4 parameters well, you should have good relationship with sentient beings, which is great. And after that, you can introduce them the parameters of meditation and then the prajna paramita. This will allow others to liberate themselves, and you too will have great achievements on the Bodhi path. So the 6 parameters are the expedient means by which Bodhisattva guides and saves sentient beings. Without using the 6 parameters to build good relationship with sentient beings, it is difficult to teach Buddha Dharma and encourage people to convert to Buddhism. So this is the end of my talk for this year, and the time is just right. So yes, so now it's 2 o'clock, and so well, any sort of questions? If not, yeah. So there's a lot that we can do. It's not just everything, just the dream. There's a lot that we can do in our life to improve our situation. But we must remember the things we see now we facing is like a dream, like illusionary. Don't think they are all real. But within this time and space, you can build wholesome deeds and good karma that can help you for the practice and training on this Bodhi path. So treasure every minute and time. What we did, what we built is not the dream. What we face, what we observe, they are illusionary. You see what I mean? Yes. So uh, all the good things you did will not be wasted. It will help you and help others some way. Okay.